Hello everyone. Welcome to Studio Samachar. Today we are excited to welcome Mr. Balaji Vharkat, a passionate environment advocate and program officer at UNICEF's Maharashtra field office. With 9 years of experience in WASH, that is water, sanitation and hygiene, climate and disaster risk reduction, Mr. Vharkat has been a key player in UNICEF's efforts to empower local communities and protect vulnerable children from the impacts of climate change. He has worked extensively across Maharashtra and other regions of India, focusing on innovative ways to adapt to climate change. Let's dive deep into his journey and hear how he's making a difference on the ground.
Once again, welcome, sir. And the first question is pretty simple. What made you interested and made you feel passionate about working in the field of climate, wash, and disaster risk reduction?
Yeah. Hi, Matrika and Parvati. And I'm first of all grateful to the SM Institute and the entire team members in coordinating and setting up this interview. So, as you know, Maharashtra is third most vulnerable state in terms of extreme climatic conditions. Um, it includes floods, droughts, cyclones, heat waves, and the secondary and indirect effects of these issues happening around the state. So I belong to a place called Marathwada, from Marathwada region, which is known for drought-like conditions or drought situations, and in this area faces drought in every 2 years time, and it actually not just impacts the adults, the elders and all the highly economical people, but at the same time it impacts the poor and vulnerable people who already are going through the various low income and various other social developmental indicators. So, since I belong to this area and I know how and what life means there in this space, wherein we have very less resources for day-to-day lives, very low developmental or low progress in terms of educational requirements, then at the same time health, at the same time the other developmental indicators like the gender ratio, the anemia, the health conditions and all those things. So this since childhood I was going through these situations, and then during my study time I realized that why not to work on these issues, not just for the Marathwada, but for the entire state, which has a similar like issues or the issues of climate induced shocks and events. So then I slowly entered into this space, and for last 8 to 9 years, I have been into this field across various, not just in Maharashtra, but across various regions spanning the Marathwada, Vidarbha, the Konkan area, the outside Maharashtra states like Chhattisgarh, Delhi, and all. So this is where I am right now.
Okay, sir. So that was very inspiring. I'd like to ask, you've been with UNICEF for 8 years. Could you share one of the most exciting projects you worked on and how it impacted your local communities?
Yeah. So the most interesting project is I'm currently working on right now. The project is titled like this: Youth Engagement and Water Stewardship Program. So as all of you know that the extreme climatic conditions are well understood through water. For example, if there is a drought, we say there is no water. If there is a flood, we say there is excessive water. When we say there is cyclone coming up, so after cyclone, the heavy rainfalls follow. When we say there is severe heat wave happening, at the same time we talk about not having crops. There is a crop failure. There is a water requirement for livelihood and all those that is not there. And at the same time, finally, when we say there is devastating earthquake and all those things, we say that we all we need is basic essential services are available for us. And within essential services, we say water availability is the most critical need. So, to see this, to address this issue, so what we have started is that to empower, to motivate people from highly water stressed districts and high water demand cities, so that they conserve the water, they motivate their communities, they take up the water saving practices to the last mile in the society. So for this, what we have thought of, like water, it just not affect the adults, the so-called high income families, but it mostly affects the vulnerable groups, like socially marginalized groups, the youth, the children, because they are very much in aspiring conditions, because they want to uplift themselves. So to ensure that these people have these basic essential services, at the same time they are resilient to take up the challenges, or to face the issues, we are promoting like water saving practices among these people. So what we are doing in this program, so, likewise, all we know is that under watershed program or the water conservation program, we see that people entering into the field, saving water through soil and water conservation work. But there is another element to this, is like this. When you have water, when you have worked on so much of soil conservation and water conservation activities, all you need is to focus on how you use that water, and to motivate people, to tell them how you should use, how you practice your water saving, we have started this program. And basically in this program, what we are doing, we are helping youth or young people like you and me to save water through day-to-day practices, like saving water while brushing, while shaving, saving water by running your water washing machine in full capacity, fixing the leakages of like taps, the pipelines, this distribution lines, and all those things. Through likewise this, we have established a series of practices, identified a series of practices, and we have handed over tools to the young people who will take the water saving practices to the communities. And you will be amazed to note that we have got more than 2.5 lakh youth with us who have saved more than 9.2 million cubic meters of water. This is an example of a behavioral shift happening in the communities, and that too not just in the rural but also in the urban settings, where is various various city specific appliances or tools, we see that we like consume more water than the rural areas. But it's not just the case, but to motivate these rural urban communities, we have started this program. And at the same time, all these 2.5 lakh youth are joined through the college level green clubs. It is nothing but another step which has integrated the water saving practices as well as the waste management, tree plantation, biodiversity, energy management interventions in the colleges. So along with the study, the youth are doing these climate and environmental sustainable activities on the ground. So this is most phenomenal program in my 8 years of career, because it has both. It has technical content as well as behavioral change content as well. And we have 1.5 years to go, and then hopefully we'll be able to reach around 1 million youth from Maharashtra to conserve the water.
So, sir, the numbers and the work that your team is doing is truly commendable. And growing up, we ourselves as youth, we've learned a lot about pollution, climate change, and all of that. And you spoke a lot of the youth program as well as of water conservation. So how can we, as the future of the country or the young people of the society, how can we contribute towards fighting against climate change, be it air pollution, noise pollution, or anything else?
Yeah. So let me put it in this way. All we know, no, the globally India is known for various reforms or various reforms in various fields. And let me put it in the themes like we have got green revolution, we have blue revolution as well. Likewise, in Maharashtra or across India, we run various campaigns. In Maharashtra, we have Jal Yukta Shivar campaign. In India, we have Jal Jeevan Mission. We have Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain campaign. So we have a national water mission for uh, climate actions. So all these actions, all these campaigns are part of the reforms that India is giving. Like earlier, we used to call Swajal, earlier, we used to call Jal Kranti is happening in India and across. But if you see in this space, a range of societal members have participated so far. Not just the technical experts, but those who just know or who are aware about the issues, though these people have also had participated in these programs. Coming to the youth population or youth as a demographic dividend for India, likewise, we have almost one third of our population as a young population, and we are a youngest nation in the entire globe. So, in the history of India, all the young people have contributed significantly into the climatic actions. Likewise, the other societal actions, social reform actions as well. The climate action is something very known to Indian perspective, but at the same time, all we need is very directional or helpful action happening in the state or the country. Now, how and how the youth can contribute in this space is that we know there is a traditional knowledge. We know there is a technological development happening in the climate and environmental sustainability space. So, as a young people, we need to like bring the traditional knowledge to the forefront, going to the field, asking our communities, asking our stakeholders who are into this space, and taking that knowledge to the communities, to the people who are unaware about it. And youth can do this through various ways. The youth have social media handles in your hand. At the same time, you are as a young people, we are young and energetic, and we are full of ideas. We can take these ideas to these communities through various means. But before that, as a young people, we ourselves can get empowered and elevated to take these challenges. To do this, again, we have various platforms. Like in Maharashtra, we have Maharashtra Youth for Climate Action Forum, which has started a course on youth leadership for climate actions. Youth can take such courses. Unlike the MICA course, there are various other courses on climate and environmental sustainability issues. So youth can understand all those things. At the same time, all you know is that there are departments like IMD, there are departments like Indian Geological GSI department and all those things. They produce various alerts and warnings for the communities. But all those warnings and all everything come in today's date come on the digital forum, digital platforms. That can be taken to the communities through the traditional means, because as we know is that youth can generate ideas, not just like typical the wall painting, the announcements, and all those. But youth can take this through their channels like social media, YouTube channels, the Facebook channel. Nowadays, we have Instagram in your hand. So all these channels can be used along with the theaters, the cultural activities, the fest you all guys do. At the same time, there are young people like uh, the Konkani Ran Manos. There is a person from Konkan who does promote the Konkan prevention and then like conservation of the Konkan area. Likewise, people can start creating blogs, can write in the newspaper channels because newspapers and various electronic channels. These forums, these platforms are asking and inviting young people like you to come there to share your ideas, to share your projects, to share your experiments, how they can contribute to. So, likewise, these platforms are available, and then youth can actively and can come to the forefront and help address the extreme climatic conditions are emerging in these days. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so since we've talked about your contributions and the youth's impact in all of this, my question to you is what's been the biggest challenge you faced working on climate and disaster risk reduction, especially in places like Maharashtra?
Yeah. Um, in terms of challenges, I would like to tell you is that we have various policies and programs with us. The biggest challenge we see is that a low take up for those programs and policies. Now, what I mean is, in terms of low take up, is that when there is like program like Maji Vasundhara is coming up, program like MG Narega is there, program like Eco Club formation or environmental services schemes are coming up. We know these programs are very crucial. We know this. There is a good content, there is good intention behind all these programs. But somehow, due to the competing priorities of communities, there is less interest to participate, actively participate in these programs. Now, it has a very genuine concern as well because those who talk about climate, they have good time, they have good intention, they have good resources in their hand to act in this space. But state like Maharashtra, we have like more than 50% of population coming from rural area, more than 60 to 70% population in sort of a low income quintile or profile. They have their own priorities to work for their like to fight for day-to-day requirements. So due to like this thing, it is also there. At the same time, there is another element, societal group available in our like in our state, who has good intention, who has got good resources with them, but they lack how to act on it. Like likewise, to in today's day, we say there is a carbon footprint, there is a water footprint, there is a good amount of waste produced from our actions. But these people don't know how to curate a small field level solutions for this. Likewise, this challenge is also there within our communities. And last but not the least, we have issue of unavailability of resources and funds for these climate actions. So what I mean in this is in this case is that we have various programs and government, private, philanthropic programs, which purely thinks on mitigation side, like building infrastructure, building tools, building technologies for handling the climate actions. But in terms of like shifting the community or shifting the people's behavior, people's mindset, we have very less spending, very less resources for this. So this is one of the limitation or one of the challenge there in the climate action field. So overall, I feel these three, like interest, time, resources. These three challenges I feel are critical and are prevalent not just in Maharashtra for the climate action but across the globe.
I completely agree to your point, sir. It is truly great that the government has been taking so many initiatives, and in fact, during the COVID-19 times as well, our college had participated in the Maji Vasundhara campaign. So we were one of the key distributors for planting trees, etc., in our vicinity. And moreover, we had taken the pledge, and we had also held a national level poster making competition
Yeah.
with regards to the campaign. So it is great that the government is taking a lot of initiatives. Moving on to a bit on your observations, what do you think is one of the biggest, or like might become one of the biggest climate issues in India in the near future, and how do you think we can work towards minimizing the risks of actually facing it?
Yeah. No, as I briefly talked about the extreme climatic conditions that Maharashtra is facing, um, there are trends of last 10 years and last 50 years as well. The districts, the states who had faced drought issues are also facing the floods as well. The cities, the districts, the villages which had average day temperature like at the minimum level or the normal level are also showing trends that their night temperature is also shifting. So these issues are already there, but the issue of the heat island effect or the heat waves is going to be very crucial in coming days, because it just not only degrades the environment but it also degrades the human health as well, and eventually it will degrade the overall environmental health. So I feel the heat wave is going to be the most critical climate induced hazard in coming days. So in terms of not just in terms of all these prior and then very vigilant aspects, but at the same time, this might affect on the productivity of human and environmental elements. Coming to the human bit, if you see that to combat the heat wave or heat effects, or what all we do is that we put extra ACs, we put extra cooling efforts, and to put those infrastructure, the marginalized communities or the vulnerable communities, they might not be able to afford those. But at the same time, putting extra or additional ACs by the others will put a severe pressure on the environmental health as well, because it emits the GHGs, the global greenhouse gases, and effective, and then it has a severe impact on the climatic, like environmental health. At the same time, coming to the second part of the human productivity bit, when there is a severe heat conditions, like it actually impacts on the human body, and it actually like makes people feel very anxious, people feel exhausted, people also feel that they need, or people also need to like stay in the shelters, eventually like forcing people to stay indoors or stay inside the shades, and then affecting their like productive times. So likewise it has a effect on human being. At the same time, coming to the environmental bit, the severe heat waves will also dry your water bodies. It will like dry your biodiversity, like trees and all the shrubs and the grass and the wetland. It will degrade their quality. So likewise, all these effects will come in force, and there is, if the trends are going to increase. Yes, I think we are back.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, yes. I was talking about the irreversible effects of like irreversibility of the climatic or environmental situations if there is heat wave. Likewise, so if you just consider this phenomenon only, so this is going to be various, like it is going to be very serious issue, not just for the common people, but it is also a serious issue for the upcoming generations, because what we are leaving behind, or we are keeping in front of the people, the coming generation, is the very unlivable planet, and one needs to act on it.
So as you have mentioned that not just in Maharashtra, but I feel like all over India, we've been witnessing these extreme weather conditions where it's like एक दिन ठंडी बारिश हो रही है and then the next day or like just a few hours later, it's just scorching heat. So because of this, we've also seen floods and droughts. So how does UNICEF and how has UNICEF been working towards helping such communities recover? Like you said, that the agricultural people are very much affected by such conditions. So
Yeah.
how has UNICEF been working towards helping these communities, recover? Especially because a lot of children are affected as well. They're starving or they're unable to go to school, etc.
To tell you that how UNICEF is contributing in the climate and environmental space is that UNICEF is generating evidences through demonstrations. Like if you work on resilient facilities like health centers, like your schools, your anganwadis, if these facilities are resilient to the extreme climatic conditions, the beneficiaries of those facilities and services will eventually get advantage of those situations. In a way, UNICEF is demonstrating how these facilities are resilient to these extreme climatic shocks. At the same time, UNICEF is running various capacity building and preparedness initiatives along with the government, because UNICEF is one of the key partner to the government in preparing the communities resilience through programs like community based disaster risk reduction, community based mitigation programs, community based preparedness activities, and all these things. At the same time, UNICEF is helping the state government to build plans, build small projects which has a good potential of acceleration, replication, scale up. For example, UNICEF supports Maji Vasundhara, UNICEF supports the Jal Jeevan Mission, UNICEF supports programs like National Program on Climate Change and Human Health to combat all these extreme climatic conditions. UNICEF has recently demonstrated a program on energy efficient water supply schemes with the support of groundwater surveys and development agencies of water supply and sanitation department, wherein it has showed real time control of the water extraction, reduction of carbon emission, reduction of energy bills, at the same time, efficient and effective running of these water supply schemes. Also, UNICEF, in coordination with the health and Jilla Parishads of various districts, have demonstrated clean and green healthcare facilities. Also, UNICEF is bringing the low mile communities and health together for skilling programs like people from like Adivasis, the young people like young people from Chandrapur, young people from Nagpur, skilling them, improve the local wash facilities, the energy facilities, and all those things. So, such kind of initiatives and efforts have been done by UNICEF, and the initiatives like what youth engagement and water stewardship, initiatives like Maharashtra Youth for Climate Action, all these initiatives are also there in the state. And also UNICEF is also contributing to the implementation of various flagships, which also are determined for contributing to the India's commitment to the COP and the IPCs of the climate actions. So likewise, UNICEF is supporting with in across the domains and platforms to combat the climate crisis.
Okay, so you work a lot on wash, right? Like water, sanitation, and hygiene. So why
Yeah.
is it so important in our lives, and how can we as citizens spread awareness about it?
It has two connotations in terms of spreading the messages. One is that we ourselves getting aware about the extreme climatic conditions and the climate crisis. Okay. What does it mean? It means that following the authentic and a validated information about the climate and environmental issues first. Second, in terms of spreading the messages, people are nowadays getting various terminologies about the climate conditions. Like people are like becoming very like severely anxious about the climate issues. Like when you say extreme climatic issues, that when like there is alert from the IMD, it says that there will be a heavy rainfall in your area. But at the same time, people take it very casually, saying, "Oh, it's IMD only," and then most of the times their warnings go haywire, and then it doesn't support us very much. But it's not the case. The warning, the knowledge given is very authentic, is very serious in terms of the department doing their responsibility, because it has various models, various validations done by the department. So people need to focus, need to follow these actions. So these two connotations, what I mean here is that we need to follow all these instructions given by the authorized entities. So this is one. Second, in terms of spreading these messages, the youth, the so-called experts, the academicians, the practitioners, they need to take these messages to the last mile, because these issues, these challenges affect all of us directly or indirectly. And to do this, as I have told you previously, that we need to use various channels. Though it could be your community level engagement, it could be corner meeting, it could be your Gram Sabha, it could be your Mohalla Samiti meeting, it could be a school level a parent teacher meeting, it could be school safety committee, it could be your college green club or college youth, or it could be through the social media channels, it could be through the electronic and telecommunication mediums and all those things. So all these mediums can be used, but yes, to do this, I would say that young people and children has got good power, and at the same time ideas to convince people to follow these things. So So likewise, by using all these methods, all these mediums, we can spread awareness about the climate conditions and the emerging issues.
I completely agree with your point, sir. Like, I mean, we ourselves are seeing that अगर हमारे एरिया में थोड़ा भी water cut होता है, so we do struggle a lot. And apart from that, even our college, we have taken a lot of initiatives. We have a very established environment and nature club that does work towards spreading awareness, not just within the college, but also in our vicinity of, Powai, Kanjurmarg, etc. So, given the nature of your work, I'm sure you have your fair share of traveling and field work in the rural areas. So, during this period of working, what is one you could say memorable or remarkable story that you could share with our viewers?
Yeah. I have two stories. One is on very positive note, and one is on like a very cautious note. Um, Recently, like last year, I happened to visit a village called Gadakwadi in Pune district, wherein we saw the entire village has worked on soil and water conservation work. They have made a series of efforts to catch and like conserve water in their area. And then they have worked on reach to valley concept, like starting from the top of the hill to the village level. They have put a serious and a number of like water conservation practices for ensuring water availability throughout the year. This village had faced like drought like conditions for long and long. But when they have done this intervention 5 6 years back, after that, in today's day, like in last 6 7 years, they have never faced drought. Forget about facing drought. Earlier, they didn't have good number of cattles. They didn't have the cash crops like vegetables, onion, potatoes, and all those things. But in 6 years' time, what they have started is that they have started like plowing. They are literally plowing 2 to 3 vehicles of the vegetables that we call in Marathi, we call it tarkari ka gadi. So tarkari wala vehicle they send daily to the city, like cities like Pune, Mumbai, Ahmednagar. Can you imagine? And they have done this just through the water conservation activities. And in this case, I have good like one more good thing to tell you. Like they have got like 2 to 300 feet elevated hillock, like a sort of a small mountain in their village. So on the top of that small mountain, they have got a hand pump. So that hand pump, you just need to put like one stroke and you get water on top of that level, like 2 to 3 feet up. Can you imagine? Like they have achieved this just through the water conservation work and community mobilization work. Like just next to this hand pump, they have got a one small pond there. There is like local village deities temple is there. Just next to it, they have got a pond, small pond. That small pond also has got good water at least for 9 to 10 months of a year. And all this has happened through their effort, all through the local level actions. And these actions were done by the villagers, not just the external entities. External entities were there, but they provided support in terms of technicalities, like telling them where should they put a loose boulder structure, where should they take the CCT and all those things. All these efforts they have done. And in the village, if you go, in the village, they have got biogas plants, they have got sour chulas, they have got pheromone traps for capturing the insects which sits on their crop and then to which eventually destroys their crops and all those things. They have adopted like this organic and nature based practices, and these practices they have eventually started following after receiving water in their village. So can you imagine one village just doing work in just water and then doing this much of development? So this is excellent story of the like climate action I have seen in the village. There is another story to this. I have come across a practice which is this. People have got bore wells, and people at the same time have got small ponds, and at the same time the farm level farm ponds. Basically, the idea of farm ponds earlier was that to store the running water coming from the upper side area, and to store it for like lean period time. But recently, I have seen this practice not just in Maharashtra, but in states like Chhattisgarh, some parts of Karnataka, some parts of adjoining Maharashtra, the Madhya Pradesh and all. What they have started is that pumping water from the ground, from this bore well, and putting it into the surface water bodies that created, like the farm ponds, the small ponds in Chhattisgarh, and all those things. And eventually, what they do, the like their fixed deposit of water. So in terms of banking and economic language, the borewell wala water is your fixed deposit, because it has reached to that level after like a lots of years of water that we have received from the rainfall. Eventually you are destroying you're broking your FD for your current needs, but your current for to fulfill your current need, you have surface water bodies, you have good water available on the ground. Why don't you use that water? But this practice is very funny, but at the same time very ironic, because ultimately you are putting scissor to your own pocket. So this is what I would like to put in this question. Yeah.
Okay, so your stories were very interesting. I'd like to ask you, how do you balance your passion for environmental work along with relaxation? So, like, you have any kind of hobbies or passions that you have on the side?
Um, my passion is that taking all those most applied knowledge to the communities, not just in terms of the climate work, but at the same time the other spaces as well. I keep on sharing, I keep on spreading the messages of most applicable, most applied knowledge to the knowledge, tools, practices, services to the communities. So I keep on doing this, but at the same time, when I come across this such kind of examples, I do practice those in my day-to-day life. To tell you two examples. Not recently, like 5 6 years before, I saw a product which says that if you use this product, you save the sea turtles. The product was your like detergent and the bathroom cleaners. What it said that the more phosphorus, more oily, more grease type material you use, it affects your water bodies, it affects your drainage systems. That message I got 6 years back. And I literally from that day, I started using soaps, shampoos, detergents at very minimum level. And to tell you, like that product has really was is really phenomenal, but at the same time, it has made a huge impact. Second example, we everyone in today's life we receive water through the milk pouches. Sorry, the milk through milk pouches in cities, mostly in cities. In rural areas, we receive water through the milkman and in the can and all those things. In urban areas, we receive milk through these pouches. But eventually, all these milk pouches end up in the landfills and or somewhere the other. But there is a small practice to it. So going this large sized pouch is in one time is okay, still okay. But when you cut the milk pouch and you put like you break that milk pouch in two part, one is the big one and then the corner of the pouch. If you see that corner, that small piece landing into your garbage, landing into your systems, it actually or it eventually chokes up your drainage system, and at the same time it reaches to the your water bodies, your sea, and eventually it increases the plastic content in the sea, in the water bodies. And eventually if you see the aquatic life, all like they see there is something like foreign particle coming up, they feel that this is a feed or food for them and they eat it. So likewise, this like this a small practice I do follow in my day to day life. I cut the milk pouches. Likewise, this keeping the cut part intact to the main pouch and storing that with me, and then eventually giving it back to the milk seller. Eventually, it will not give me a good return in terms of money, but it is giving me return in terms of satisfaction, and then eventually realizing my passion that yes, though I am not contributing very largely, but I'm doing my bit, my through my day-to-day lives. Likewise, communities can also practice these examples. Like every small action of ours is in a way affecting or impacting the climate in and around us. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
So moving on to the next question, nowadays itself, as you spoke of youth and social media, we've seen a lot of youth who speak of sustainable life and overconsumption. They call out people who overconsume a lot of things. So of course there's a lot of people who are already interested in contributing to the environment, and I'm sure after watching this video there's going to be a lot of people who do pique an interest. So what is one advice that you'd like to give to anyone regardless of age who's interested in working towards environmental protection or joining international organizations like UNICEF to contribute to the cause?
Yeah. I'll continue from the previous answer. As I said, our every action has a climate or environmental footprint. For example, the clothes we are wearing, which has a water footprint, which has an energy footprint, which has also carbon footprint as well. Because while this product is produced, it had got water, it required energy, it required air, and then it emitted carbon as usually. If we need only like say for example 5 to 6 pairs of a cloth for a year, why to buy 12, 18, 24, and all those like in terms. Likewise, for water, when we need only one bucket of water for bathing, then why do we need two, three buckets of water? Or in a simple language, in terms of shower. So if our bathing is getting completed in 5 to 7 minutes of time, why to spend more time under shower? Likewise, every action, like the mobile which we use, it has also got the footprint. Yes, because it for producing the mobile to manufacturing that mobile, it requires a good amount of water. The at the same time to use it, while using we are also generating or putting a footprint on the water. Likewise, on the environment, like energy we are consuming. At the same time, the data which we are consuming, it has got also got the environmental footprint. Likewise, the data which we are storing our devices, which we are storing on our cloud storages, it requires space. There are good number of servers put up on somewhere in this globe to store your data, to protect your data, and to run those servers, to run those equipments, it requires energy as usual. So what I mean here is that every action has environmental footprint. So, like, I'm not saying you should not enjoy your mobile, you should not enjoy your like clothing and all, attending events, attending seminar, attending festivals, doing rangoli, rangoli festival, doing the Diwali festival, doing the various other festivals. You do everything, but at the same time, while doing so, one must be conscious about whether my action is degrading environment or not. I should act responsibly as well as consciously, because it has got a good notion, good action linked to it. And coming to the other part of your question, how you can like get into this climate space and all those things. Like earlier, I told you people that many of us are like part of this society. We have good knowledge in and around us, which has good environmental connotation and linkages to it. I would say, I would urge all of you to just put a climate and environmental lens to it. That's it. Whether my action is contributing to the safeguarding this environment, or whether it is not degrading the environment. If we follow this simple practice, it will eventually help us immensely. That's what I want to say.
I would like to ask one additional question from my end. So recently, I read an article in the Hindu which basically said, and I'll read it out: poor households globally lose 5% of their total income in an average year because of droughts, and 4.4% of their income from floods. So, in that sense, how do you think the policymakers or organizations, like UNICEF, can contribute towards these poorer farmers?
Yeah. Um, so what you quoted is absolutely like a measurable indicator when in terms of how these extreme climatic conditions affect our common people. To combat this issue, I have a very small suggestion again. We have got various resources with us. We have got like this great nature with us, which gives or which fulfills our needs, but not the greed. The government, the organizations like UNICEF, various philanthropies, various academic institutions are working towards like building the adaptive capacities of the farmers, of the youth, of the children in a various ways. While doing so, we are forgetting that we are also developing ourselves, right? So when we say this, people like those who are really affected due to these issues, they are also aspiring, and to fulfill these aspirations, government is working on various programs and projects and whatnot. But while doing so, all we need is to see that how much is that effort is really contributing to the environmental protection and also protection of the these people, not just in terms of saving their income on like spending on those extreme climatic conditions, but also in terms of whether all these our developmental projects are reducing the like if like reducing the elements which are causing harm to the environment. We need to put this aspect into this. At the same time, the communities who are really struggling, really going through these phases, need to get connected to the people who are already resilient or practicing the resilient activities. So So if we like focus on these two things, it will eventually reduce the toll on the economical conditions these people have. So I would limit myself to this point only, because it has got various direct and indirect linkages to this question.
Absolutely right, sir. So that's the end. Like these are all the questions we had. Of course, we have a lot more, but also the time constraints. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time and coming here and speaking to us. It has truly been very informative because this is a topic that we usually don't hear a lot about, or we don't see a lot about. हमें सिर्फ बता दिया जाता है that this is the issue and use less light, turn off the lights. So it was really great to hear. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope this episodes comes out well, and then the fraternity associated with the Shetty institutes feel that yes, it is something worth to take up.
Thank you for your time,
Yes.
sir.